Well, hello, everyone. My name is Alison Woodall, and I'm the guest interviewer for the Leaving California YouTube channel. And I'm very excited today to talk to Haley Van Edom, and she is a realtor from Knoxville, Tennessee. Haley, thank you for talking to me today.
Thanks, Allison. Glad to be here.
So I know that you've done a couple of interviews with Terry before, and anyone who's interested can go look at those videos. But for those people who don't know who you are, tell me a little bit about you and Knoxville.
Okay. Well, I'm a Tennessee native. I was born and raised in Middle Tennessee area in a little town called Livingston. I went to college at Tennessee Tech University in Cookeville. So if anybody's interested in that area, I could share a little bit about that as well. I don't sell real estate there, but I am knowledgeable of it. And I know someone on the group is already there and she can help you as well. But really anything between Cookeville and Knoxville, I'm very familiar with. I have been part of Terry's group for over a year now and have helped countless families from the group make Knoxville or the surrounding area their home. I do sell real estate in the greater Knoxville area, so that also would include Maryville, Oak Ridge, obviously Knoxville, and as far east as Strawberry Plains. I don't really like to get too far outside of that bubble, but Knoxville is pretty large in landmass as well. So driving from one end of Knoxville to the other could take you up to 45 minutes or longer.
Okay. And for a Californian, the idea of 45 minutes to get from one side of a city to another, that's nothing. But I always think that, Tennessee is so accessible. Even if you live in a bigger city like Knoxville, you've got all the benefits of big city, or not big city living, but like medium-sized city living. You've got everything that you need. But in 20, 25 minutes, you're out in beautiful country. So for someone who doesn't know Knoxville particularly well, you say the names of towns, but what does Knoxville look like as a city, and what's kind of around Knoxville?
Yeah, so Knoxville, the city is going to be, so when people talk about Knoxville, they will divide it in, like most cities, north, south, east, and west. But downtown Knoxville is more on the east side of what people would say Knoxville, which would be Knox County. And generally, most families want to live in West Knoxville. That's going to have like the best schools, which all of our schools are great, but it's got the best rated schools. West Knoxville has Turkey Creek, which is our big shopping center area. North Knoxville is great. It's going to be a little bit more of a rural feel, but still has all kinds of amenities, grocery stores, restaurants, all the things. And South Knoxville is really up and coming. So that would be directly south of the downtown area. They call it Sono. And it's really growing. It's cool. It's hip. It's got a great vibe. Lots of new restaurants popping up in and around that area, and little breweries, and some great nature places there as well. And then, of course, we have Maryville, which is going to be directly south of Knoxville. And I know a lot of people in the group talk about Maryville all the time, and rightfully so. It's a beautiful place. It's got that small hometown feel that a lot of people are moving here for. I hear a lot of people talk about, oh, give me a Hallmark town. I want to live in a town that came out of a Hallmark movie. That would probably be your town. Maryville has a green belt that runs through it, so you can walk all the way from Alcoa into Maryville. It's beautiful. There's the town square. It's really quaint and a nice place to be. And again, they have all the amenities, and I reference everything to how far we are from a Target. And they have a Target, people. They have a Target. So Maryville is great. And still, you're only about 25 to 30 minutes from the West Knoxville, Turkey Creek area anyway.
And when I think about the whole area that you're in, I think about the lakes and all those amenities. And then you're close to the Smoky Mountains as well. So it's, my two of my best friends, actually, one lives in Lenore City, one lives in Maryville, and just outside Knoxville was the very first address I ever had when I moved to the USA from England. So your whole area is one of my favorite places, probably in the whole world. So I'm kind of, that person who just loves the area. So you've got a lot of employment opportunities, a lot going on. And then obviously there's University of Tennessee in Knoxville and Maryville College, because my friend actually moved all the way from South Africa. I'm from England, she's from South Africa, just to go to Maryville College. That's how good it is. But tell me a little bit about your market, because like you talked about, a lot of people want that dream of living on, some acres and, having a little bit of space. Is that still possible, or do you have to go very far out of the Knoxville area to get that kind of property?
Well, anybody that works with me knows what I'm going to say about that. So people will call me and they're like, I want a lot of space and a lot of land. And a lot means it's different to a lot of people, so a lot. And then we'll get to talking. I'm like, well, what's a lot for you? Like half an acre. Well, I know that's a lot for you California people. And yes, half an acre is possible, but then I'll get people that want, 5 and 10 acres and they want it for, $200,000 with a house with 4 bedrooms. And I mean, I might be able to find you a unicorn like that. I mean, I have done it, but most likely the answer is no. That's going to be very hard to find because everything that you want in terms of a lot of space and a lot of land, there's countless people behind you. And from looking at the group that there's plenty of other people looking for the same thing. Our market is extremely hot, and I never sugarcoat that to anybody. I believe in just letting you know up front how things are, not to discourage you in any way, but just so you're well aware of the market. Things have grown exponentially. We're up 18% year over year in home prices. And also our inventory is low. But with that said, I think we had like 850 homes sold last June. From the previous year, it was something like 800. So we are selling more real estate, but we have far more people coming in, competing for that real estate. So we are 9 times out of 10 in a multiple offer situation. You have to be competitive, which is why you want to work with real estate agents that do this every single day. They know how the market's changing. We know how to submit your offer and get it accepted and have a better chance of that, because it's not just about how much you're willing to give money wise. Of course, that's a big part of it, but it's not the only part. There are so many details that go into that. So we'll definitely help you on that end. But the market is really hot right now. However, I have seen it slow down in the past 30 days. But let me preface that with, if we had a home that was getting 30 offers on it, we now have homes, that same home would probably get 10 offers on it. So we're still in multiple offer, just less. And I think there's several factors that weigh into that. The biggest factor I'm seeing is that we had a huge rush at the beginning of summer and at the end of the spring, because of course everybody's trying to get out here at the same time, to get settled, to get ready to put their kids into school. And now that school starts this week, we don't have as much of a rush. So it's good for people looking to come now, but we are seeing a bit of a slowdown.
Yeah, and I've noticed that. I also moved in summer. I've moved in summer twice. But if I was going to do it again, I would prep my children to be the fun new kids joining a school in the middle of the year, so that immediately everybody wants to be their friends because they're the new kids and it's something different. And then I would move at some random time during the year so that I have a better chance of getting a house. I have a better chance of getting, like a U-Haul truck or a pod, because when everybody is moving for that summer rush, it really does make a difference. So if someone, was feeling like they were stuck in California and they were desperate to move, and maybe their budget is, $300,000 or $400,000, if they were prepared to go much further out of Knoxville, are there still properties that are much more rural that are more affordable, or are those still, getting multiple offers?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on where we're going. Like you said, you used to live in the Greenback area. So I'll use that as an example. If you don't mind living a little bit further out, and Greenback is beautiful. It's really a stunning place. You are going to be able to get more for your money for sure. So yes, you can find, single family, 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes in the Greenback area for 300,000 and 400,000. And I'm not saying that you can't find that in Knoxville. It's just a bit more of a competitive market, but definitely out there. And I'm sure some of the people can comment underneath that I've helped find those homes. They are here and we can find them.
Yeah. So many people have a dream of what it's going to be like. And I always think if you're just a little bit flexible, and if your goal is to live in the Knoxville area, and you can be flexible with either how far out you live or maybe the age of the property, you can always find something. But if you want what everybody else wants, then you're going to be in a competitive market. And ultimately, I always think if you are living, say you dream about a 3,000 square foot, modern house somewhere close to Knoxville, but you end up in Greenback, you're going to have the most amazing, relaxed life. You're going to be in the most stunning place. And so your house may be a bit older, it may be a bit smaller, but all the other things will outweigh it's a balancing act. And I always think that don't let not having your perfect place stop you. Because when you say to me, 5 acres on a lake, all I can think about is mowing acres and acres of grass. I lived on half an acre in Georgia.
Yeah, it's funny.
I lived on half an acre in Georgia, and I spent hours and hours every week blowing leaves and mowing grass. So the fact that I could reach out and touch my neighbors in California and my backyard is concrete. Actually, I can appreciate that because I haven't blown a leaf or mown my yard in 2 years, and I like that.
Well, there's something to be said about that. I find it interesting too when I get clients that they want all this acreage, and then they realize, wow, that takes a lot of time every week. Maybe I don't need that much. Maybe I don't need 5 acres. Maybe 1 acre is good enough. Or I'll get people that'll be like, I want to be very rural. I don't want anybody around me. I don't want anybody. And so we'll go the first day and we'll go to those rural places, and they're like, might be a little too rural for me. But it's okay. We got to manage everybody's expectations and work backwards from that too. Yeah. That's my philosophy is like, what do you really want? And let's go for that. And then let's sort through that and work backwards. And generally people find what they have put on paper, pen to paper, like this is my need list. It's not always that at the end, and they're so happy with what they've got, and they didn't even realize that was what they wanted, but they did want exactly what they got.
Yeah. And I always say there's certain things that are non-negotiable. Like my kids will never share a bedroom again. They did that once, that's non-negotiable. But other than that, whether they have a small bedroom each or a big bedroom each, I would like them to have a bigger bedroom, but ultimately, if we found the perfect location, the perfect price, we'd compromise on bedroom size. And when you're very clear on what's an absolute cannot compromise, and then you've got your wish list, and when you know exactly what your budget is and you're realistic, then you can look at your budget and you can look at those things that you can kind of compromise on, and it makes it much easier.
Yeah, Alison, that's a really good point. And I tell people that all the time, like, we can have a wish list and a want list a mile long. And I think that evolves generally over the time I spend with people. But what I really want to see is, what are your non-negotiables? Like this is your red line. I'm not crossing it. I'm not having just 2 bathrooms in my house, or I have to have a yard for the dogs. I mean, you've got to tell me what you absolutely will not live without, and then we can find something. But I have to have that list from people, non-negotiable. So that was a really great point to bring up.
Okay. Well, so we've touched on a lot of things. What about property taxes? We haven't talked about that. Are they higher? Are they lower? Because there's no state income tax in Tennessee, is there?
Right. No, there is no state income tax. So that is one of the big reasons people are looking at Tennessee. So, but our property taxes are some of the lowest in the country, believe it or not, because you would think with no state income tax, well, then their property taxes must be high. And I hear that all the time about people that start looking at Texas, for example, and I think their property taxes are up near, I think, 6%. So our property taxes are some of the lowest in the country at like 0.67%. So 0.67% on average. So for example, let's put that in real numbers, right? If you had a property that was $250,000, your average property taxes are going to be somewhere around, I don't know, $1,150. Okay. So that's somewhere on average. And all you math nerds out there, don't check my math. I swore to my college professor I would never do math without a calculator so long as I live. I took an oath she would pass me. So, but that's average. Okay. You know, one of the top 10 questions I get asked is about severe weather, and rightfully so. And I'll explain the way I explain to everybody. Being in East Tennessee is different than West and Middle Tennessee, because Knoxville is kind of in a basin. So like a bowl. So we're surrounded by mountains, and those mountains protect us from the severe weather that would create a huge tornado. So when weather moves from east to west and they hit that Cumberland Plateau near Crossville, it starts to dissipate. It weakens the storm. So we're pretty protected unless weather comes up from the south, which sometimes it will, like if we get like hurricane, you know, remnants or whatever, that's when we'll get the most severe weather. But even then it's, we haven't had like I know Cookeville had the terrible F5 tornado last year that killed so many people that I knew personally. We're not going to get that type of weather. We may get a tornado here and there, but it will be nothing like that. So I feel perfectly safe here weather-wise.
Yes. And what I always say to people, because I lived through my first earthquake 3 weeks ago, and I was just sitting at my desk and everything started shaking, and it was horrible because I didn't know what was happening. I'm sure I'd probably get used to it. But a tornado, you can see the storm forming, and there's tornado warnings and there's everything like that. So you get so much warning. Same with hurricanes in Florida. You know that they're coming, you can prep for it. Whereas if you can survive an earthquake in California and be chilled out and relaxed about that, you know, tornadoes. My big thing with tornadoes is always know what county you're in. Because when I first moved here, the tornado warnings would say tornado warning for such and such a county. And I'd always think, I don't know where I am. Am I in that? Is that my county?
Helped you learn some geography.
Yeah. And you know, and all the radars and the storm trackers and everything, you get notification now. It's not like, you know, it's Little House on the Prairie and you're looking up at the clouds and hoping for the best. And humidity, I know it's a little bit humid, but it's not like crazy humid from what I remember in Knoxville.
We get some humidity, and there's worse days than others. Yesterday it was pretty humid here because we had a good rainstorm the night before. So when the sun hits it, you know, yesterday my hair was all frizzy, and it is today too, but not because it's so humid outside. But we do get some humidity here, but it's not like Florida or Houston, Texas, for example. We're not going to have where you walk outside and you need a shower. You just had a shower and you're going to need another shower. Maybe a couple of days like that. We do have some humidity, but it's not unbearable.
Yeah, I would agree. And then winters are cool, but again, not like 4 feet of snow, occasional snowstorms, but nothing scary.
No, last year we had, I think, one good snow, and it happened to be on Christmas Eve. It was the most magical thing. We had a white Christmas. So, and that's very uncommon, by the way. So we may get 2 or 3 good snows, and nothing that doesn't thaw out and melt at least by day 3. And if it's on the ground for 3 days, then it's going to be a blizzard. And, you know, that means people are wiping out bread and milk at the grocery store, but no need to worry. They salt the roads. You're going to be fine. I haven't been snowed in probably since the late 90s when we had a big ice storm in Middle Tennessee. So it's fine.
Well, the final thing I want to touch on is the sense of community. And obviously you can tell that, you know, the people, my friends who live there, they're some of my favorite people. Tennessee holds such a special place in my heart because the people are wonderful.
Oh, yeah. I mean, church is a great way to meet people and meet new people. I go to Calvary Knoxville, and you California people, you know exactly what Calvary Chapel is, because that was started out in California. And we just added a Saturday night service because it's grown by leaps and bounds because of all you guys coming out. So that's great. And I do want to say this, you know, I've helped, I don't know, maybe 15 families in the past year move from California. And what I've noticed, for the most part, you guys assimilate so well here, because the people on this group, you guys are all looking for the same things, and you guys all have very similar belief systems, similar ideological, you know, mindset, thought processes. You're all leaving for the same reasons. And I just want to say, I have been so blessed by you guys, my clients, and you guys know who I'm talking about, because you guys have become some of my best friends. And I've been so thankful for you guys and our friendships that have carried far beyond selling you a house. It has just been amazing for me. And I want to get all you guys together. So, you know, if you're looking to move out here, you know, I always tell, I've connected so many different families to each other, because you guys are the same. You're the same. So you guys just instantly become great friends because you're so similar, you know. And I just, don't be worried about, you know, will Tennessee people like us because we're from California? I get asked that all the time. And yes, we love you. And yes, we want you here. And we're so sad that you guys are having to flee your state. It's a beautiful state. And we're so sad about you having to, I call you my California refugees, because you really are fleeing. And you know, we're happy to bring you to safety and bring you to a community that loves you. And I just want to say thank you to all my cops that I've helped this past year. Thank you so much for your service. And thank you for moving to Tennessee. We're so happy to have you. That's been a huge blessing in my life, is helping cops and first responders move here, because we want all of you to come. Come on, I want to feel more safe with you here, and we appreciate you and love you.
Well, and that's funny you should say that. I was actually talking to Terry a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying the biggest thing that he notices in the South versus California is that there's cops everywhere doing speed traps. And Tennessee, there are cops on the roads, and in Tennessee, everybody drives at the speed limit. Or just slightly over the speed limit. And so, yes, if you're moving to Tennessee, watch out for those cops and their speed traps, because there are a lot of them anywhere in the South. But so I think you've touched on a very important point, whether someone moves to Knoxville and works with you, or whether they're moving somewhere else. When you're moving all the way across the country, it is so important that you have that connection with your realtor, and that they will help you in any way that they can. And so if someone is in California and they think they want to move to Knoxville, what is the best way to contact you? Is it email? Is it cell? Or, and I'll put all your details down below, but just what's the best way for them to call you?
The best way to contact me is to call me or send me a text message, or even message me on Facebook. But my contact, like she said, is going to be below, and I look forward to working with you. And we didn't talk about this, but I do want to share kind of my process for when you guys decide to come out and plan a trip to come to Knoxville to do a little house hunting or scouting. And I do things a little bit different maybe than other agents do, but I spend a lot of time with you. If you're comfortable with it, you know, the best way is just to hop in my car and let me show you around. I feel more like a tour guide than a real estate agent, and I'm happy to do so, because I can imagine moving to a place I've never been before and not knowing what I'm looking at. So I find my job first and foremost a tour guide, to make sure, is Knoxville really where you want to be? You know, because we need to determine that first, and then we'll start looking at some houses. Usually by day 3, people know exactly where they want to be. You know, do you want to be in Maryville? Do you want to be in Oak Ridge, West Knoxville, wherever it is? And we completely narrow that down. You're overwhelmed. Day 1's a nightmare. You go, I take you back to your hotel and your head's spinning. But usually by day 3, you know exactly where you're at. You've got your bearings. And even if we don't put an offer and go under contract while you're here, and a lot of times we don't anymore because it's so competitive. I'm comfortable enough and you're comfortable enough because I've gotten to know you so well. And I can say, hey, on FaceTime, I can go FaceTime houses with you and I can say, hey, look at this. It's got this. Remember you said you really hated that? Like we need to, are you sure? You know, and I'm more pointing out all the negatives about a home in a video FaceTime situation than I am the positives, but you're not here. And I feel like that's my job. But I have found so much success in that because I've gotten to know you. I feel comfortable, you feel comfortable, and we're going to find you that perfect house, even if you have to go home and we have to FaceTime. So if you guys are interested in that, and even if it's just a scouting trip, you're not looking to put an offer in right now, I'm happy to spend my time with you. People always worry about wasting my time. You're not wasting my time. I enjoy what I do. So I'm happy to help in that way as well.
Well, that's wonderful. Because, you know, when you trust someone and you feel like they know exactly what you're looking for, it takes some of that huge burden of fear, because when you move that far across the country, you have so many doubts. Am I doing the right thing? Am I going to like this neighborhood? Am I going to like this house? You know, am I going to have bugs in my house? Is a tornado going to roll through? You can be, if you allow yourself, you can become so fearful. But when you're working with someone that you trust and you know that at least the house is what you want or the neighborhood is what you want, it just allows you just to take a little breath and focus on clearing out your house in California or finding a moving truck or one of the other many logistics that go into moving.
That's right. And I feel like a guide more than anything. I think I said that. I don't have to sell anybody a house to pay my bills, but I enjoy what I do. And I love helping California people get out of, unfortunately, a bad situation in where you're at. So I'm happy to help.
Well, that's good to know that you are like a California relocation expert. Everybody needs their niche, you know. So, well, wonderful. Well, anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's it. So if you guys want to just get in touch with me, you can call me or text me anytime, and don't be worried about the time difference. I work with you guys all the time, and I know that when your day ends that you're worried about me, you know, going to bed or whatever. No, I've adjusted my schedule to your schedule. So even if it's 5 or 6 o'clock California time, call or text me. I'm not asleep. Don't worry about it.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. And I'll put all of Haley's contact information in the comments wherever you are watching this video. Thank you.
Thanks, Alison. Bye.